In this video, we will take a close and detailed look at how coffee actually affects the blood and the blood vessels. You have probably heard more than once that drinking coffee on a regular basis can be harmful to the cardiovascular system and might even shorten overall lifespan. But is that really true, or is it just a widespread myth? We will explore both the possible negative effects and the real health benefits of coffee, so you can gain a clear and science-based understanding of the topic. By the end of this video, you will have no doubts about whether you should continue drinking coffee and in what amounts. This video is going to be incredibly informative and helpful. If you want to take control of your health like a pro, give it a like, and let's get started. Coffee-based beverages are well known for their energizing effect, which comes from a high concentration of a substance called caffeine. This is a psychoactive compound and a purine alkaloid that can stimulate brain activity and speed up metabolism. Today, caffeine is not only found in coffee, but also in most energy drinks, in Coca-Cola and in tea. It is also commonly used in migraine relief tablets, as well as to support heart and respiratory functions. On average, about 20 minutes after caffeine is consumed, certain processes begin to take place in the human body. For example, it blocks the receptors of a neurotransmitter called adenosine. One of the primary effects of adenosine is to slow down nerve impulses and make a person feel sleepy. When this effect is blocked, it leads to quicker reaction times, improved attention, and reduced relaxation. Caffeine also stimulates the production of the hormone adrenaline. This increases heart rate, enhances blood flow to the muscles, and triggers the release of glucose into the bloodstream. In addition, it raises the level of a neurotransmitter called dopamine, which is associated with feelings of satisfaction, emotional well-being, and a general sense of uplift. Spinal reflexes become more active, the central nervous system becomes more alert, and senses like vision, smell, and hearing become sharper. Both mental and physical stamina improve, along with overall productivity. However, about 2 hours later, the effects of caffeine start to drop off sharply, which often leads to a return of sleepiness and fatigue unless another serving of a coffee-based beverage is consumed. Caffeine is naturally processed and removed from the body over the course of 4 to 5 hours. To understand whether regular caffeine consumption is beneficial or harmful, it is important to first look at how it affects the body as a whole. Let us start by looking at what happens to the blood vessels when beverages containing caffeine enter the body. Scientific research has shown that caffeine has its most powerful impact on the blood vessels in the brain. This explains the energizing and stimulating effect of the drink. In addition to caffeine, coffee also contains another alkaloid called theobromine. This compound actively influences the condition of the blood vessel walls throughout the circulatory system. It is important to understand that different blood vessels respond in different ways when coffee enters the body. Some of them expand while others narrow. The vessels that tend to expand are those responsible for delivering nutrients to the cardiovascular and musculoskeletal systems. This expansion of blood flow happens as the walls of the blood vessels relax, allowing circulation to become more intense. As a result, more oxygen is delivered to specific organs. This process explains the energizing and stimulating effect of coffee. A person may feel an immediate boost in energy, improved performance, and sharper mental focus. This is often the effect people are seeking when they want to feel more alert and ready to take on tasks or responsibilities. Creative individuals, athletes, students, and long-haul truck drivers are among those who frequently rely on this boost. When coffee-based beverages are consumed, caffeine enters the bloodstream and begins spreading throughout the body, stimulating the release of adrenaline. This leads to increased tension in the walls of the blood vessels, narrowing of the arterial passages, and sudden changes in blood pressure. This last effect can have both negative and positive outcomes. When coffee is consumed in moderate amounts, there is usually no harm, as these temporary spikes in pressure can actually help strengthen the walls of the arteries and improve their elasticity. However, when the daily dose becomes too high, even completely healthy blood vessels may struggle to cope with the added stress. This is especially true for people who have a history of atherosclerosis, since the buildup of cholesterol deposits can cause blood clots to break away from the vessel walls, potentially leading to serious complications such as heart-related or brain-related circulation issues. When blood flow increases to the organs of the excretory system, urination also becomes more frequent. Along with the urine, the body eliminates accumulated toxins and harmful substances. However, at the same time, calcium and other beneficial compounds are also flushed out. If a person drinks no more than 2 cups of coffee per day, the loss of minerals is usually not significant. But if the daily intake increases, the amount of essential nutrients being removed from the body also rises, which can have a negative impact on overall health. For instance, you might start to notice reduced strength in your bones, weakened nails, erosion of tooth enamel, and brittle hair. Another unpleasant effect of coffee consumption can be the appearance of pain sensations with varying intensity. This typically occurs about 60 minutes after drinking coffee and is linked to the way caffeine causes the blood vessels in the brain, digestive organs, and pelvic area to expand. When those vessels later narrow again, the amount of oxygen and nutrients reaching the organs decreases. As the body uses less of these substances, this reduction can sometimes lead to a decrease in pain, including headaches. Caffeine, being an alkaloid, is also included in the composition of certain pharmaceutical pain relievers. This is because it has several useful properties, such as reducing discomfort, activating natural brain functions, easing passivity and sleepiness, improving the ability to focus, stimulating mental activity, speeding up decision-making, and boosting physical performance. Certain effects of alkaloids lead to increased blood flow in the heart, skeletal muscles, lungs, and kidneys. Their influence triggers specific reactions in various organs and systems. Because caffeine causes the blood vessels in the heart muscle to widen, it improves the heart's blood supply. In general, caffeine helps improve circulation in areas where blood flow is slightly restricted due to conditions like atherosclerosis. It also enhances peripheral circulation, and as a mild hypotensive agent, it can help stabilize blood pressure. Caffeine moderately stimulates kidney function, improving blood flow through the kidneys. It also increases blood perfusion in lung tissue, which supports better oxygenation of the blood. Additionally, it boosts circulation to the muscles, speeds up the removal of lactic acid following intense physical activity, and promotes the recovery of damaged muscles. It even improves the lungs' ability to contract effectively. In the digestive system, caffeine causes blood vessels to narrow, which encourages the active secretion of digestive juices. It may also reduce discomfort associated with cystitis by narrowing the blood vessels in the pelvic area. When it comes to the heart, one of the most widely known negative effects of caffeine is an increase in heart rate and blood pressure. This is directly linked to the primary action of alkaloids. Caffeine is a stimulant that affects the central nervous system and the brain. It helps speed up certain physical reactions, stimulates the heart, and causes the blood vessels to expand. Of course, it is difficult to say exactly how much caffeine is needed before these effects begin to appear. However, on average, it takes as little as 50 milligrams of caffeine to cause noticeable increases in heart rate and blood pressure. However, sensitivity to this alkaloid varies from person to person, which means the amount that can lead to the development of tachycardia may be more or less than 50 milligrams. In some cases, caffeine may not have any noticeable effect at all. At the same time, it turns out that drinking coffee may also provide protective benefits for the heart. In a group of people who consume 2 to 3 cups of coffee-based beverages per day, the risk of heart-related issues was significantly lower compared to those who drank either more or less coffee. In fact, even 1 cup a day can be enough to reduce the risk of stroke or a life-threatening cardiovascular event. According to a 2023 study by the American Heart Association, moderate coffee consumption, defined as 1 to 3 cups per day, was linked to a 15% reduction in the risk of heart failure when compared to individuals who did not drink coffee at all. One of the main concerns regarding the effect of coffee on the cardiovascular system is its tendency to raise blood pressure. However, this increase is usually very short-term. Most people with high blood pressure can safely consume caffeine in moderate amounts as long as it does not worsen their symptoms. It has also been observed that individuals who have been drinking coffee regularly over a long period of time may actually have a lower risk of developing hypertension. This is because coffee contains a unique compound known as chlorogenic acid, which has antioxidant properties. This compound helps keep the cells of the heart muscle youthful and healthy. A 2022 study conducted by the American Institute for Nutrition found that regular coffee drinkers had a 20% lower risk of developing coronary artery disease compared to those who did not drink coffee at all. Caffeine also has a positive effect on the tissue lining the blood vessels and the heart. When this inner lining functions properly, it helps maintain smooth blood flow, which in turn supports a healthy and steady rhythm of the heart muscle. Chlorogenic acid plays an active role in the blood clotting process and also helps platelets adhere to the walls of the blood vessels when needed. To get the most benefit from drinking coffee-based beverages, it is important to understand which type of coffee is considered the most beneficial. Numerous studies have shown that filtered coffee is the best option. This is the kind of coffee that is prepared by passing water through ground coffee placed in a filter. As the water slowly moves through the coffee grounds, it takes on a rich flavor while preserving the useful compounds. The used grounds are then discarded. Filtered coffee is widely regarded as the healthiest preparation method because it retains the greatest number of beneficial elements from the coffee beans and does not contain any harmful residue. This type of coffee helps reduce the risk of life-threatening cardiovascular events and is rich in antioxidants, which help keep cells young and healthy. On the other hand, unfiltered coffee, meaning coffee that still contains the grounds, is considered the least beneficial. This type is typically brewed directly in a cup. Coffee made using a saisieve or a French press is also less beneficial than filtered coffee. The reason is that unfiltered coffee contains about 30 times more cholesterol than filtered coffee, which places a greater burden on the heart and contributes to the development of atherosclerotic plaques and blood clots. It is important to understand the advantages of ground coffee compared to instant coffee. Of course, instant coffee is much quicker and more convenient to prepare since it comes in a ready-to-use powdered form. However, this kind of drink is significantly less beneficial due to the presence of various preservatives. In the process of turning coffee beans into instant powder, most of the essential oils and helpful compounds are lost. To make the powder dissolve in water, it undergoes repeated processing that strips away nearly all remaining vitamins. On top of that, instant coffee often contains stabilizers, artificial flavors, colorings, powdered creamers, and sugar, all of which do little to support health. It also contains significantly less caffeine than ground coffee. According to data from the United States National Coffee Institute in 2024, instant coffee contains between 40 and 60% fewer antioxidants than properly prepared ground coffee. That said, even though high-quality coffee drinks made correctly offer a range of benefits, they are not suitable for everyone. People with high blood pressure, impaired blood flow to the brain, serious heart conditions, head injuries, increased intraocular pressure, varicose veins, aneurysms, thrombophlebitis, or atherosclerosis are generally advised to avoid coffee in order to prevent complications. It is also best to avoid coffee for at least 14 days following any surgical procedure, especially if it involves the heart or brain. People over the age of 60 should also be cautious with coffee, as it may place extra strain on the heart muscle. If you are under stress, feeling emotionally overwhelmed, or recovering from a sleepless night, coffee can lead to unpleasant effects such as general fatigue, weakness, nausea, dizziness, and headaches. It is also not recommended to drink coffee immediately before or after physical activity. Even those in excellent health should monitor how much coffee they consume and make sure they do not exceed the recommended daily amount. What are your thoughts on this? Do you agree with these points? If you have any questions, feel free to share them in the comments. Next, I recommend checking out these videos, and don't forget to leave your likes and comments. I'm looking forward to them.